In this video, I just kind of wanted to talk about how at 26 years old with a full-time job, I've scaled to now 14 units and then partially owning and managing one unit that's worth around $850,000 right now. That's a luxury cabin in Broken Bow. The majority of the other properties that we manage are actually here locally in Pensacola. But I get a lot of questions all the time, like how did we scale to this many units, or how are we better than the competition? And the whole reason I started this is because I love traveling a lot and I had a lot of passion about staying in different Airbnbs, and I noticed some of them, it was just like, I'm sure you've had the experience before where you stay in it and you're like, what the hell did I pay $200 a night for? Like, this place sucks. And I kind of saw online how much money people were making from Airbnbs and short-term rentals as a whole. So I started taking the time in college and then when I joined the military to just educate myself in the market. And I eventually found some mentors that were absolutely crushing in the space. And now, in the age of AI, I've become an expert with systems, technology, and then through my full-time job in the military, like how to manage people as well, and manage people and teams effectively, treating people like people and being able to pay people really well. And now all of our properties are guest favorites. We're super hosts. We have a direct booking website. Like, we're absolutely crushing. And today we're just dropping by some of the properties of one of our bigger clients who has 3 properties. And then all together they make about $175,000 together. But, I do want to provide some value in this little rant. So local hosts here, a lot of people are really against, hiring management, and sometimes it doesn't make sense, especially if you have a smaller unit. So here in Pensacola, if you want to be successful, what I tell people all the time, and you can look on Price Labs too to see where properties actually make the most money, but downtown, areas with the pool, East Hill, and the beach. People come to Pensacola for the beach. So if you just have, some rinky-dink, not to be offensive or anything, but just your own house with your grandma's furniture, like, you're not gonna kill. You're gonna make less than $30,000, maybe even $20,000. We've seen some properties that just do absolutely terrible, and it doesn't matter what you do because, if you're 35 minutes from the beach, who the hell is gonna pay $150 a night? And then you're gonna have terrible guests in there that are gonna complain about everything and leave bad reviews. So if you do want to manage professionally, number one, I would start investing in education. Check out, my channel. I want to keep providing value to people with, tips to help you scale as an individual host and maybe even start your own management company in other markets as well, because the stuff that we do works in any market. We just are local here, and we prefer here in Broken Bow, Oklahoma, because it's the new Gatlinburg of, Oklahoma. It's really similar. But some of the things to, just go off the top of my head, first, you need to get a channel manager, because most people, they only list on Airbnb. I have a really great video. I'll link it in the description for how to actually create your listing on Airbnb. But that's the first step. Figure out what channel manager you want to use. We use Hostfully. Hospitable is also a good one. But we use Hostfully because it's kind of like the Android, I guess, is the best way to describe it, of property management channel managers. There's just like so many customizations you can do in Hostfully, whereas Hospitable is super simple, like point and click. Everything is super user friendly to get set up. And then after that, I'll also make a list. I'll probably attach it in the description, just like a list of smart technology and other systems at the description of this video, just so you can get that really easily. But getting that listing created, getting professional photos done, super easy kills, super easy stuff. I have a future video planned where we're going to show how we actually take our own photos. We bought a camera. It's really affordable. And then, you don't need to know how to edit photos. There's a website where we pay our photo editor literally 80 cents per photo, and they're professionally edited. There's a little bit of tips and tricks with like how to take the photos, but if you're just taking photos with your iPhone, that's good to just get it up. But like after that, go on Airbnb in whatever market you're in, and you're going to see these crazy photos, crazy properties. Like, it's super easy to do, but if you're just going and taking lazy photos with your phone when the lighting is crap, like, no one's going to book that property. I'm sorry to say it, but that's why you're losing money. Those are the first things you should do. And using AI now as well to create your listing. Like I said, I made a video on exactly how we do it. I made my own model of ChatGPT, so you can just plug things in there. Literally, prompting is everything, and we have the prompt in there already. You just have to fill in the details about your property, but you can't half-ass that part. That's the first step. After that, uploading it to your channel manager, and this is like super, high level overview of how these things are done. But if you want to know more about it, just comment like whatever questions you have down below, and I'll probably try to make a video or just respond to you to answer that kind of stuff. After you get that created, you have your listing set up. The number two biggest mistake I see is pricing. People think that they can just set one rate, like $150 a night, for example, for their house, and it's just going to get booked. And then they ask why their calendar isn't full. It's because you have to change your pricing constantly. If you're always booked, you either have really good marketing, or what's most likely happening is your price is way too low, and now you're getting more guests in there, higher wear and tear, higher turnover, and that's just going to do more damage to your property, and you're going to be missing out. Where someone, they might have paid $250 a night for that time, but you had it marketed at $150. So we use a software called Price Labs, and this isn't just like a setup and forget. It's kind of a complicated process, but there's tons of videos on it. It took me probably like 30 hours to learn how to do it, but if you have something more concise, like I had a mentor that helped me out with it, it's a lot easier to set up than most people think. And that's actually something we do for some of our property owners. When we take them on, we will explain it to them, and we'll give it to them for free if they don't want to work with us, or we'll completely do it for them for all of our management clients that we have. So setup, photos, pricing, smart technology as well to make sure you're managing your property. And if you have the time to do it, yourself, you can clean the property, but this is something where I'd recommend outsourcing, especially if this is something that you want to scale and you want to get more properties. You can't spend the time in your property cleaning, because number one, you're probably not going to do it as well as a professional company does. And number two, it's not going to add that much to your bottom line unless you have a lot of units. But then at that point, you're just cleaning all day. You want to be an investor, not a maid, right? It does make sense for some, but how we do it is, we have cleaning teams that work for us, and we use a software called Breezeway, which is amazing. You can schedule all of your cleanings in there. You can schedule all of your inspections, battery lock changes, literally everything. It's so awesome. It is a little bit of a learning curve for a lot of cleaners to use, but it's really not that bad at the end of the day. And with that, there is a lot of misconceptions about hiring cleaners. With hiring cleaners, what we do is we send a form to like local Facebook groups, and the people that fill that form out, it's kind of like a pre-questionnaire. It weeds out people that aren't serious. So like usually we'll get 20 to 30 responses depending on when we post, and some people will like halfway answer the questions. Those people are immediate red flag. If you can't answer simple questions, and it's not even that many, it's like 10 to 15, super simple. It's like an interview. And then after that, we'll go through and make sure some of like the non-negotiable ones, like how do you get paid? Do you have insurance? Do you use our software? Have you had experience with it before? How many of you cleaned? Because it's a balance, right? Like if they're not in-house for you and it's just for your property, you want to make sure they're not cleaning 200 units, because then you're just a number at that point. But you also want to make sure they aren't just, Joanne that is cleaning by herself and cleans 2 properties, because she's not going to be that experienced. And then also, if she gets sick, who's going to clean your property? That's not something you want to do. So you want to make sure they have a team. And then after that, we usually weed it down to like 3 to 5 people, and then we'll go and meet with them at a coffee shop and make sure they pass the vibe check. It's a little bit of, interpersonal skills and common sense, but do they seem sketchy? Do they present themselves professionally, like a real job interview? And then after that, we onboard them to all of our systems in Breezeway, send them an independent contractor agreement, and then make sure we have everything set up for them to work efficiently, to do a walkthrough of the property and get them all the questions that they have to make sure they can clean the unit effectively. after that, you're pretty much up and running. And then it really just depends where you want to go from there. Like, do you want to scale to more properties? Then it gets a little bit more complex. But those are really the basics to running an effective short-term rental. And in regards to getting more bookings, like, you need to be on social media. You need to be marketing your property, and you need to be doing some research on how to market just not on Airbnb. And that's where the channel manager comes in. In Hostfully and Hospitable, you can actually manage multiple different booking channels. Like on Hostfully, we can post to Google, our direct booking website. We can post to Airbnb, VRBO, and then like 20 other different channels as well. And that's stuff that will make you stand out from the competition as opposed to just relying on Airbnb. If you're doing that, it's just going to take one bad guess to get your account banned, and then you're done. You're completely cooked at that point. Like, you can't. I've worked with some people who a guest left a gun in a drawer, and the guest complained about it, and their account was offline. And this was a luxury property down in Destin. Their mortgage on that property was like $6,500 every month, and they were losing that revenue every single month, having to come out of their pocket because they couldn't rent it out. If you like this video, just like and subscribe. If you have any more questions, just drop them in the comments, and I'll try to answer them as soon as possible. So thanks for watching.